Hi again, Elizabeth here. These are my establishment and delivery 3.1 sessions. So these are the 6 sessions that I have done with the kids over the last 10 months, and I've amalgamated them all here for you. The videos were taken by myself with my little camera, by my coworker Tim, as well as a couple of videos were taken by my mom when she came here to visit from Calgary. So you'll sort of hear her asking questions and stuff in some of the videos, which is a lot of fun. The kids loved having her here, so that was really neat. So the videos are in order: working with the Kelly kettle, fire lighting, forest cleanup, fire pit safety, making bannock, and we talk about wild edibles in one of my last sessions. Of course, they don't always go according to plan, but the videos here you can see I just kind of went with what was happening for that day, and most days at forest school are like that. You can always plan, but it doesn't always work out. So the videos are also interspersed with a couple of interesting clips I have of the kids doing free play or exploratory play, either in our forest school near our base camp or at the zoo, which is right next door to us, where we get to go and explore and play. The clips are a lot of fun to see. Just I'm observing the kids, their interactions with one another, seeing their interests, seeing what they've sort of learned and their interest, and obviously what they like to do and like what they pretend to do. And anyway, their interactions are quite interesting, and I've included them because it's a lot of really great learning happening, and it's what I just really like to see from the kids. So that's basically it. There are 6 videos, and the first one coming up will be Luke learning to use the Kelly kettle. It was among the first times he's actually used it, and then the second clip you'll see is him asking a few weeks later to do it again, because he discovered that when you heat the Kelly kettle in that nice hot water, you can make oatmeal. So he likes to have oatmeal, and enjoy. That's very good. And that way we're not touching the steam, right? Sure. That one is a little tricky. Very good. What are we doing when we add wood?
It makes the fire just burn there.
That's right. Do you remember the 3 things we need for fire?
Wood
What do we breathe? Air. And what do we use?
I saw something move. I just saw it, but it was
Flame. So spark. Yeah, fuel, air, and spark. Very good. And what happens when we put lots and lots of wood in the fire? What's it going to do to the water?
burn. It makes it cold. I was yelling that sounds lost.
We're going to boil water for oatmeal, right? That's what's going to happen?
I was lost that way. I was yelling this for me.
I didn't hear you, no. Did you want to learn how to put that into the Kelly kettle? No, you're carving with them?
You can have them.
Oh, thank
that
you.
fire.
You don't mind if I use them in the fire? Okay. Here, Luke, we'll just wait on that one for one more minute. I think there's enough twigs in there for right now. Oh, can you see the steam coming out? Or it looks like there's actually a bit of, like the wood is burning, right?
Yeah.
Perfect.
So do I get to put in the west? Make a file.
Luke, what are we doing?
Putting some of these in.
Into what?
And do that.
What's it called? Do you remember?
Oatmeal.
Well, we make oatmeal out of it. Is it our Kelly kettle?
Yeah.
Yeah. And can you show me, can you get a little bigger piece and show me how you would put it in carefully?
This piece.
Sure. Show me how you pinch it. Great job.
Good job, Luke.
And what's going to happen once we got all the wood in there?
It will turn in. Are we gonna make some oatmeal right now?
Mm-hmm. So what's in the Kelly kettle?
What? There's something inside of it. Fire inside.
Mm-hmm. And what's it heating up?
Oatmeal.
It's not heating the oatmeal, it's heating up. Ooh.
Heating up the cup. It's heating up it. Our dog's our station.
Oh, good. Is it heating the water inside?
Yeah. What? Oh.
That's good.
It's going to heat up.
Mm-hmm.
When is it going to break down? Can I super shy?
So based on the first video, looking at it, there are a few things that I did change and I would change for future use. So for example, in the first video, I noticed that the hole where the steam would come out from the water is actually facing more towards where Luke is sitting. It's sort of at an angle towards him or towards where another child would be. So in the second video, I did consciously turn that so it's facing into the fire pit. So then that way, once the Kelly kettle starts to boil, I figure any of the steam and any of the water that might spit out would be going towards the fire pit and obviously not towards the children. Before we started the session, I had invited Luke to come and sit beside me, so he was already aware of the boundaries. He's already very aware of the rules around the fire pit. He would not have gone sort of in that area without me. And so that was something that I didn't show, but he already has very good knowledge of, and I think I'm confident with his skills in order to invite him to do something like the Kelly kettle. Certainly there were some children this year that just weren't really able to sit and focus, and they didn't really have the interest in using the Kelly kettle. So Luke was just a great example that he knew the end result, that eventually when the water boils he can make oatmeal, but he also liked the progress of it. So I noticed that he did a very good job sort of checking the sticks and holding them carefully and listening very well to my instructions on how to hold it, and he was, monitoring his own holding of the sticks before he tipped them in. So I thought that was very good. Also, in the first session, you might have noticed we did have the fire gloves close by, which is something we always do, and we do have the bucket of water, which is just sort of behind where my body is in case we need to put out the fire very quickly. One other thing I wanted to mention about this session with Luke is that he understands the language very well, and I'm very proud of the way that he can explain himself. Usually it's sort of tricky to see, but he knows the 3 things that you need to get a fire going. He likes using the proper words for things. So I'm telling him that it is a Kelly kettle, it's not just a kettle. It will boil the water that we will make the oatmeal later. So he is intrigued with the process, and he's interested in the language, and he's interested in the work involved and not just solely the end result. So I think this was a great session. Both clips show he is highly motivated to do it, and I think he did a really good job, and I'm pleased with it. So prior to introducing children to the Kelly kettle, I think in the future what I would like to do would be to have the Kelly kettle sort of set up in an area where I could teach the children how to tip the sticks in without there being a fire at all. And then that way I could get sort of a gauge on the children's interest and how sort of serious they are, and maybe their maturity level to be able to then work with a live fire. So perhaps in my next session with some new children, I would start off, like I said, without a lit kettle, and then just to practice the tipping of the sticks into it. And then that would sort of help to alleviate any of the fears that I would have about working with a hot fire with any new children. Luke, can you say hi to the camera? So Luke is showing us how to light a fire. So what's the first thing we need to do with our arms? Roll up our sleeves.
You know what? How we will make a car? Only if we had to do more wheels.
Yeah.
Get lots pieces of big wood. Then what to do with the wheels under it.
All right, can you wipe your hands just on my pants really quick? Make sure there's nothing on your hands. There you go. Wipe, wipe, wipe. Perfect. And then with our matchbox, we're going to practice without a real match first, okay? We're going to practice just with a regular little stick. So we're going to hold the box with one hand like this. We're going to pinch it with this, and we're going to strike towards our fire. And then when you have it lit, we're going to drop it right in the middle. Okay? So can you show me how you practice pinching the stick? And scoot right over beside me. Okay. Hand underneath your box. Underneath the box. Very good. Okay. And we're going to lean a little bit towards the fire, because if the match gets lit, we want to be nice and close to drop it in, okay? So, ooh, very good. Push. Ooh, good. One more time. Oh, excellent. Would you like to try with a real match now? Okay, so we'll drop that stick. Okay, hold your box nicely. Hold your box like this, okay? Nice, and we're gonna hold it right onto the log, so it's nice and stable. Okay. Here's our little match. We're gonna pinch it together. So scoot right towards me. Okay. And we're gonna push. I'm gonna hold it underneath with you, and you're gonna push towards that fire. Good. So hold like this. Push. Okay. Keep it nice and steady. Push. Great job.
I want one more time.
Sure. But instead of letting it go right away, we're going to drop it in the fire, okay?
Okay.
Try one more time. Okay, hold on to your matchbox. Underneath like this. Good work. Lean it down. I'm going to pinch and push it towards the fire, okay? Put your hand on this side, elbows in. Yeah, and you're going to push it. I want your hand at the top, and I want you to push away from your body. Okay, can I help? Very good, very good. Hold on, hold on. Okay, hold it with me. We're going to carefully drop it together. Into our, hold on, we want it to burn. See how it's burning? Great job. All right, good job, buddy. You did a great job, Liz. All right. On that particular day, I had invited a few children who were sitting on stumps behind the camera I was inviting them into the fire pit area with me to just practice using the matchbox. Luke, I thought, did a really good job in just being patient with it and sort of sitting and trying again. So I chose this clip with him because I thought it was a good demonstration of his skills. Again, I invited him into the area. He knows the boundaries really well around the fire pit, so he wouldn't have just gone in there without me. So we had already established those boundaries. We do have fire gloves available. They're sitting right on the stump beside me, and then the bucket of fresh water is again behind me on the side. Now, our fire height, whenever we do start the fire at the school, our limit is sort of knee height for adults. And then that way, if there are children around the fire, it's not a big giant fire exploding all over the place. So this particular video, we did end up lighting it, and we just had it going for a little while just to sort of do that practice with a few of the kids to get that comfort level with them. Now, in the future, I think what I would be conscious of doing myself is just asking Luke or asking the children how they're feeling about it. I know I do a lot of support with them. I found that Luke was very good in trying on his own, but I think in the future I'd like to maybe just step back a little bit, let them try more on their own, and then ask me for help. And then, of course, at the end, once he does get it lit, just asking if he's okay and if he would like to do it again, or if there's anything else he had questions about. So I think the session went really well, though. He does a really good job at listening, knowing the rules, like rolling up your sleeves. I always pull back their hoods because I find if it's raining and they have a hood on, then they don't have very good peripheral vision. So that's something that we always practice. And I think the session went really well.
Oh.
6. Come on, Max, come find a seat.
Well, you could have one of my dogs.
5.
Are you fine?
4. 3.
The little one? Okay. We're keeping it. A little one. This little
1. Raise your hand if you can hear my voice.
Good.
Raise your hand if you can hear my
I'm
voice.
raise that.
Raise your hand if you can hear my voice.
I can.
Raise your hand if you are listening. Thank you. Okay, so I need to tell you 2 things today, 2 really important things. Okay?
I didn't hear you, but I know that.
Thank you. So 2 really important things. Today we have my mom here again. So she's our visitor. So make sure that we show her around our base camp. Maybe you can show her something new that you like to do. And later today, we're actually going to have more visitors. Okay? They're going to come and see your school. and they want to be walked around, and maybe you can show them your tire swing. Oh, listen, or maybe we can show them how to use like our Kelly kettle, or maybe we can have a little fire later. Before we have visitors though, we need to do something really important. We need to help tidy up the forest, okay? So I noticed when we walked in this morning, there was plastic, like there was containers on the ground, there was rope, there was string, there was chalk. So all those things are things that aren't found in the forest, right? Those are things that we brought into the forest. And in order for us to take care of the forest, we have to do a little bit of cleanup, okay? So in a couple minutes, I'd like everyone to go get, how many, 5?
No, 4.
How old are you?
4.
If you're 4, you're gonna get 4 pieces of garbage. So that's either ropes or strings.
I'm 5, so I get to do 5.
And if you're 5, you get to do 5 pieces. So that is a piece of string, a piece of plastic, a piece of garbage under our picnic table.
And I'm 5 too.
You're right, so you get to choose 5. So anything.
I'm 5 too.
Perfect. So the boundary tape stays on the ground. You can leave
I'm
this.
5.
But I'd like everyone to go
Yes, I'm
choose.
5 because I'm bigger than Nick.
You're 4 still until
No, I'm
November.
bigger than Nick.
You're taller than him, but you're not older yet. So, and then the other thing I need you guys to start tidying up some of your.
He's older than me.
He's not. He's taller. So you guys need to start tidying up some of your workspace though too. So the mud kitchen needs to get tidied up, and maybe just by like the bird feeders. Okay. So everyone, show me how many pieces of garbage you're gonna get. I need to get 27. How many are you gonna get?
5.
How many are you gonna get? How many are you gonna get, Max? 4?
Yep.
This many? 4? Chase?
And check out the Spider-Man.
4? How many are you gonna get, Kaya? Kaya, how many pieces of garbage are you gonna get? How old are you? 4. Perfect. Grady, how many do you get to get?
5.
5, because you're 5. And how many, Luke?
What did you not say? 5.
5. Perfect. And Henry?
4.
4. Excellent. And I'm gonna get 27.
How much is you want to get?
A lot. Mommy will have to get a lot of garbage. So we're gonna go tiptoe now, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your garbage and we're gonna fill up this bucket. See if we can fill the whole bucket, okay?
Yeah.
And let's do fast as we can. Ready, set, go! Grady, over here for 1 second. Luke, what's this bucket full of? What are these buckets full of, guys?
Garbage.
What are they full of now? And
Garbage.
who picked it up out of the woods?
You. Everybody.
Everybody did, right? Because you guys needed to clean up the forest.
I know.
Max, why do we clean up garbage from the forest? Why is it important?
Because it might die.
Okay, Grady, so what might die?
The trees and the animals and all of the dead trees that are already dead, they can die.
No.
They can die anymore.
The other trees might die if we leave the garbage. And then you said animals. What else? Max, you said it's dirty? Is that what you said? The garbage is dirty, so we want to get it out of the forest. What else? Why else? So there's trees that make it hurt. And it's kind of dirty. And who else might eat it? Animals, right? And we don't want them eating plastic, because if this gets stuck in an animal, do you think they'll be able to breathe? No. So we always take garbage.
Just die.
They might die, yeah. So we always put our garbage in our bins, and we always clean up at the end of our week, right? We always remember that any garbage
I have some
from your lunch,
Well, guess what?
yes, goes away.
Guess what? When my mommy, Grandma Nora, my sister, put plastic down my throat,
Oh,
I was hurt.
she had to grab it out of the throat. Yeah, because it's not good for you, and it's not good for the animals. All right, so that was the video about forest cleanup. The point of that lesson was to get the kids all together and thinking about taking care of our environment. So we do a forest cleanup at least once every couple of weeks. We come together, whether or not we have visitors, whether it's just I'm noticing that the forest floor is getting a bit chaotic with extra ropes and materials that we're not using, or if there is a lot of garbage, especially around our picnic table, we'll bring the kids all together and have a little discussion about why we think it's important to keep the forest clean, obviously who it's going to hurt if it isn't, and then what we can do. And the kids usually love it. We treat it as a bit of a game, and then that way everyone sort of gets involved and has fun. And even if the kids only pick up one piece of garbage, that's more than enough. They're contributing to the environment staying clean and staying fun and safe for themselves and for others. Now, we do that daily sort of check-in with the kids. It's not always about forest cleanup, but we usually conglomerate around the fire circle. We find that's a really good spot. It's a central location at base camp. Everyone can sit and see clearly who's speaking. And we talk about maybe important events for the day, what's going on that week. And then we also have discussions like what the kids want to do. So if they have an idea they'd like to go for a hike, or if they want to build fairy houses, they want to play in the mud kitchen, or if they have an idea for something to do in the afternoon, they can let us know. It's also a place, our circle is where we discuss rules. So if ever an incident comes up, for example, in the wintertime, the children really wanted to throw snowballs. And that's something that we are okay with, but we wanted them to establish reasons why they should and maybe why they shouldn't be able to throw snowballs. So that forest circle around the fire pit was a spot where we all got together and we discussed ideas. So maybe it wasn't a good idea to throw at someone's head, but you are allowed to throw it at their feet. Maybe we should ask first to see if the person wants to play with the snowballs and wants to be thrown at. So we just found that the circle, the forest central location, is a really good site to have those discussions. So that's why we do that for the forest, the cleanup. And now after we sort of went off and had our own thing, just picked up the garbage, filled the buckets, we had a little quick chat while the kids, well, they decided they were starving, obviously. So they washed their hands, sat down and had snack, and we just quickly discussed why it's important we do it. And I also wanted to sort of show the kids, like, we filled buckets, like, which is, I think, a lot of garbage just for a couple of weeks at forest school. So they did a good job in noticing how much garbage there was and reasons why we do it and who might be hurt if we don't clean up the forest. Because this isn't a public site, this garbage is our own. It's nothing from the public. So whatever we collected is ours. And so that means that we are the ones making that mess, and they are learning the responsibility to clean it up. Again, the boundaries were already established. The kids know how far they're allowed to go. We did go off in groups, and I'm not concerned that the kids are going to go outside the boundary or into the zoo or into the forest too far in order to collect garbage. So that wasn't really a concern that I needed to bring up. I really liked that. I think it was Mitchell, he said, we can be on the same team, or like, who wants to be on my team, or we can be a team, because this is a communicating, experience. Like, these children are talking to one another. They're noticing the garbage. They're encouraging one another. They're counting how many pieces they got. So I did 27. So the kids heard me counting. Some of them did 5. Some of them did 20. They did a really good job. And I like hearing them counting and sort of not necessarily competing with each other, but just having that sense of like, I've accomplished this many, and how many have you done, and how many have you done? And they're also getting a bit of number sense, which is kind of fun, unintended consequence. And that's about it. In the future, I think what I would do again is just establish to the kids, if they ask if they have any questions, see if we need to do anything else while we're cleaning up the forest. And once we're done, just debriefing again, make sure that they're all set and they kind of understand why we're doing it. All right, thanks.
Hunter, what do we think made these holes?
Woodpeckers.
How do you know?
Pickles. Pickers. Not buckles. Oh. Pickles.
What, woodpeckers?
No, pickles. So they pick. Yeah.
And what are they looking for?
They look for poop, those ones. No bugs! But the other ones look for ants.
Definitely. And so what do they do to the tree?
Some of them look for ants, and some of them look for bugs, and some of them look for trees, and some of them look for
Show me what they do.
branches, and some of them look for trees.
Yeah, they do.
Somebody looks for broken trees and eat the Will you come eat a wolf with me? Sure.
So this was a short clip of Hunter and Grady while we were going on a walk around our base camp area. They were at the time very interested in woodpeckers. Anytime they would hear one, they'd sort of stop and listen and then try and follow the noise and see where they were coming from. And anytime we saw any of these holes, the two of them would sort of make sure everyone kind of got around them, and they would show them the holes and talk about the woodpeckers and what they're looking for. And they would ask very good questions like, what are these little shavings at the bottom, and where do the woodpeckers live? Did they live in these holes? Only do the bugs live in these holes? So they were just very interested, and we ended up getting a few bird books out of out of the office that we carried with us. We did end up seeing a downy woodpecker and a pileated woodpecker around the same time, so that was very exciting for them. But I just wanted to share that little quick clip of their learning. Okay, everybody find a seat, please. Find a seat, Max. Okay, find a spot, sit down.
Can I have
You want to sit right there? Okay, well, why are you going to sit there, Clyde? I'm going to sit here.
What's this? Well, maybe.
Okay, you sit right there, please. Not right now. We have to talk about some fire safety stuff. And first thing we need to do is practice how you walk. Can you go around, please? You can hold it. Yep, you can hold it. Perfect. So we need to review our fire safety rules, everybody. So find a seat and stay there, please. Find a seat and stay there, please. Grady, can you tell me what one of our fire pit rules are? Loki? Henry. I need you to listen to Grady. What's a good fire safety rule?
I know. You couldn't walk past those because you might fall into fire.
Perfect. So what's this orange stuff on the ground called?
It's a boundary tape.
Boundary tape. Who's allowed to go in there?
Only teacher.
Elizabeth and Tim, and maybe if a parent is here sometimes. But what about if I invite you? Yeah? What if I say, Esme, would you like to come warm your hands by the fire? Is that okay if I invite you into the fire pit?
Yeah.
Yeah? And maybe I can put a mat out for you? What are these black gloves that we have here? What are important about those? What are they for, Max? Do you know?
I know. Fire gloves.
Yeah, these are our fire gloves. So who puts these on?
A teacher.
Yeah, whenever we need to maybe touch the pot or build the fire, right? What about sitting at the fire? So if I was to take a mat and I said, who's sitting peacefully? Maybe, oh, that's no good. Can I have another one actually? Luke, would you like to come sit with me by the fire?
Me.
Okay, so show me how you sit nicely on your knees. Perfect. And where do we put our hands? Do we put them past the block, past the birch? No, we keep them back here, right?
Right here.
Right here. What about throwing things in the fire?
No, that's really, really dangerous. Because if it pops, and my mommy told me if it pops, it'll blow a lot of fire.
Yeah, so we only put our hands back here in case it does pop, right? And those flames, they're all dancing flames, right?
Yeah.
So if I put my fingers too close, they might dance around and actually burn me. And you're right, throwing things in the fire. Max, are we allowed to throw things in the fire? No, because it's not safe, right? Yeah, so only teachers are allowed to put things in the fire with the fire gloves. You're allowed to be invited in to sit on your knees and warm your hands. And you're allowed to be invited in to cook. And we're allowed to be invited to maybe put wood in a kelly kettle. But we have to really follow our rules, especially because...
When I was at camping,
Yeah.
my dad let me put something in the fire.
Or Carvin, you can be invited. But it's really important because we can't have fires unless everyone's showing me how safe they are, okay? Does that make sense? Yes, Luke.
Let me cook. I want to go for a hike this weekend and try and go find some wood for the fire.
That's a great idea. So this session video where we're talking about fire safety is an example of something that we do fairly regularly, at least once every month or so, just to help remind the children about our rules around the fire pit. We did this talk quite a bit at the very first of the year just to get the children used to the fire pit. We'd play games where they would stand up and walk around the stumps, and then we'd have a game where the kids could switch places, and then just practicing sort of safe walking around the fire pit before we ever even had lit fire. This one I think is in the spring. It's fairly rainy. I think the children, for whatever reason, were running around and playing, and there was a couple instances where they were maybe not being very safe around the fire pit. So again, we just brought the children together, had a quick chat, reminded them about the safety rules, and then for the most part, they're very good at monitoring themselves. They'll sort of police each other a little bit, just remind them about where they can put their feet, and if they're ever running through the kind of area, to make sure they're behind the stumps is the most important part. Again, we talk to them about the boundaries, about where we're allowed to sit, being invited into the fire pit area, whether we're cooking or to warm hands, using the fire gloves if the teachers are going to touch the fire. And again, we do review this periodically, and in the future, what we'll continue to do is with new groups, we'll play games, we'll establish the rules early on, and then just practice them, especially if we have more children added throughout the year coming into our 4 school groups. So very good practice just to review these rules and make sure that all the children are very well aware of them. So we have never had an instance or an incident where a child has hurt themselves around a fire pit, and I think that's because we've been very good with being diligent about reiterating the rules and asking them to tell them to us as well, not just talking at them. So they're able to tell us the rules, and they're very good at it, and we're pleased with their progress. The next clip you're about to see is the kids playing independently in the woods. They've gotten a hold of some orange duct tape. I think one of the children brought it to school that day because it reminded him of our flagging tape that we use to mark the boundaries. So the kids were playing kind of quietly in the woods, and they're getting very excited about something, so I kind of went over to see what they were doing, and they were working together. There were 6 or 7 of them, and they had built their own fire pit. So the clip sort of just shows their interactions and how they're monitoring each other, and they're basing their play off of our rules that we sort of establish around our regular fire pit. So it's just really neat to see the way that they are playing and sort of reinterpreting their real life. So hope you enjoy.
What are you making?
We're making fire.
Oh.
So it has to be really dangerous. And guess what my tape is for?
What?
It's for hanging mitts up.
Mm.
We're making fire. So it's the one for making fire mitts. You want to go hunting? Yep, and one you want to see when we're here for fire.
Did you make a stick to hang the mitts on?
I need another piece.
Okay. Oh, why is that?
Because you might burn yourself.
That's right. So
That's
what's the rule?
I don't tape and tape. Hey! Boy. There's a lot of boys.
What are we going to make today?
Baby.
So what do we need?
Water.
Water and our flour, right?
Flour? I always use flour for my cooking.
You do?
I use it for cooking.
So Esme, you can put the flour in there. We're going to move your water bottle because we're going to use my...
a little bit.
Esme's going to pour it into the bowl, and then you guys are going to...
All of it?
Yep, all of it. And then you guys are going to use the water to make it...
Is it making a flour cloud?
All done.
Perfect. Okay, now we need to add
The water.
So
Oh, we've got another helper.
You grab the spoon.
Can I help you?
Sure you can, absolutely. Okay, that's good for now. And now let's let Kai stir. You want to come sit beside me? Remember, can you hold the bowl for your friend so it doesn't slide away from her? Thank you.
You might get some extra water in it from the rain.
Hey.
It's okay.
Hold it a little bit closer down there.
Maybe we should put water in it.
That's a really good idea. Why don't we do that? Can you put a little bit more water? Is it a bit dry or is it a bit wet?
Dry.
It's a bit dry, yeah. So definitely needed more water. Very good.
That's easier to stir.
Right.
Maybe a little,
Hold the spoon a little bit.
dry. I get a little dry.
Closer down there. Hold the spoon.
I get a little more
There, hold
dry.
the spoon down there. It is still dry, yeah.
Looks very sticky.
Can I have it turn in? No, I won't have it turn first. I never have it. Just girl.
We'll do
Goodbye.
right, so Kaya, why don't you hold the bowl, and Esme can have a turn stirring. Yep.
Okay.
And then you can pour a little bit more water in. You will. You'll get a chance.
You guys are doing a great job.
That's good, honey. Esme, if you hold the spoon closer down, it will probably help you stir it.
I can do it easier. Tighter. Maybe a little more water. It's getting a little bit dry. Okay,
Hold
dry.
on. Can I help a little bit? I'm gonna get these pieces to the sides.
Turn it into banana.
It is.
I see about.
A little bit more water. Hey, Mitchell.
What color is it, Max?
Sure. What would you like on it, Mitchell?
Everything.
Everything?
Where's my water bottle?
I think your water bottle might be in your backpack.
I would take all of the maple of them if I were you.
Yeah.
This is mine.
And jam, Mitchell?
Yeah.
Oh my
All of
god.
it.
All of it. Oh, goodness.
Everyone. Where's this?
Oh,
But
that's good one. That video, Kai and Esme are helping prepare the bannock to go and cook. The girls really love doing this. This isn't their first time, so they know the kind of the drill. They go and wash their hands and come and sit, and we do it on the tablecloth on the cover on the picnic table. They really aren't touching the food. They're not touching the flour or anything, but it's just good practice for them to wash hands first. The girls are really good. I think they're showing that they're listening to each other, they're cooperating, they're helping, they're communicating, and I'm trying to do my best to sort of sit back and let them do it because they have been given the instructions before. They know that they have to mix the flour in with the water, and then once it gets like a fairly sticky mixture, then it's ready to go in the cast iron pot over the fire. So I thought they did a very good job. There was nothing really that I think we would do differently in the future. Again, they have done this before, so they do enjoy it. And then, of course, there's a clip of us enjoying the bannock once it's all cooked, and we have maple syrup and cinnamon sugar and jam, and it's delicious and amazing. So the kids love it, especially on a really cold, rainy day. It helps to boost their spirits and gives them a bit of energy for the afternoon. And in the future, we'll continue to do this. This particular day, we chose to cook the bannock within the cast iron stove on the tripod over the fire because it was raining quite heavily. And the children aren't super interested in sitting with the bannock on toasting sticks, waiting for it to cook over the fire. So we just decided to put it in the cast iron pot, let it cook in some oil, and that way it kind of comes out nice and crispy and hot and fresh and ready in just a few minutes. So yeah, they enjoyed it, and we'll continue to do this again and again and again. Okay, so are you allowed to eat anything in the forest?
No.
Why not?
Because after we can teacher says it's okay.
So only if I say it's okay, and only maybe if I've eaten it, and I've said, yep, this is definitely, I know what it is. So if I decided one day that I was going to try eating cattail root, I want you out of the garden, you're in a garden. I already know what it is. There was a sign over there that said they were cattails. So we already peeled off the outside, and what we can do is we can try a little piece of it, but only because I'm here.
Can I just bite it?
Nope, and I said that it was okay. So we're gonna use a knife actually. Thank you. So can you back up a little bit, because you're kind of in my blood bubble. That's good, thank you.
What's a blood bubble?
A blood bubble is like if I slipped, you're too close to me, you might get hurt. Do you want to try a little bit of cattail?
I want to have some more, okay?
Yeah.
Or you might cut your belly.
You're right.
Or if you aim the knife at your belly. Yeah. It might cut your belly open. Or if you aim it at your eye, it'll cut.
They're pretty sharp. Hold on. Esme, would you like to try some?
If you aim it at your head, it will cut your head.
The cattail root or the knife? We're running out of good stuff here. This will be the last piece. Okay, now the next thing here, it's going to do the back here. The other thing too we have, and because it actually says it, I know what it is, and I tasted it. They're wild onions. Do you like to eat onions at home?
Yeah.
You do? So look, I'll take a little bit of this wild onion, and I'll pick it. But I'm gonna taste it first, just to make sure. Yep, definitely onion. Would you like to try some onion, Hendrick?
I do.
And if you don't like it, you can just take it out of your mouth and you can put it on the ground.
I love it.
Esme?
I love it.
Here.
Can I have some of it?
Sure you can. Esme? If you don't like it, you can just spit it out and say it's not my favorite.
Mommy.
You like it?
So,
Do you think if you see something green like this, you should just eat it?
no.
No. You should definitely ask me first, because sometimes we know what they are. You like it? Yeah? Once more?
Want some more?
Sure.
Can I borrow it? I want to get all of that.
Yeah, that's
Can
probably
I
good.
borrow?
Great, so that last session video was introducing the children to wild edibles. There is a medicine wheel in the zoo. It's like a circular garden that has sort of the 4 sections of the medicine wheel. And one of those sections is wild edibles. Now, we had gone through there a number of times before, and I'd sort of pointed things out to the kids, but we've actually never let them taste it. So it had been a number of months throughout the school year. We have always reiterated to the children that we don't eat anything in the forest, even if we think we know what it is. So even berries and things, we don't encourage them to eat unless, of course, we are there. We have tested it. We've tasted it. We know for sure what it is. Simply, it's just unsafe for them to do it, especially if they go home and they can tell their mom and dads, oh, I know what that is. I should eat it. It's just good practice not to encourage that. So here, we've been in this medicine wheel a few times. It is labeled. I did taste it. We know the cattail root comes from an area that isn't particularly boggy. It's not a super dirty marsh or anything that it's growing out of. And then the wild onion has a little sign, and it's like a beautiful big patch of this stuff. And I think the kids really enjoyed it. They wanted to try it again and again, and a few of them just would come later and ask me if I could pick some more for them. And again, just reiterate that they don't do it themselves because it's just not really safe. So yeah, other than that, we really enjoyed teaching it to them, and they really enjoyed trying it. And Tim's knife is actually the sanitary knife. His is the clean knife that we use for cutting food occasionally. So that's why we used his knife and not mine, because his is clean, and it was, I think, safe to use that day to cut up the cattail root. Yeah, and in the future with new groups, again, we would start them by saying that we don't eat anything in the woods. And then eventually, if we find that they're very good at that, we would eventually let them try things with us, supervising at all times, and then, of course, encouraging them to ask if they do have questions or if there's something that they would like to try or even want to smell or taste or chew. Again, new groups, we would just make sure that they're very safe. This last clip I'm going to show you is the children playing at, they call it the biggest puddle ever. It's in the zoo. It's kind of where we walk by each day, and when it's pouring rain, this puddle just forms, and it's enormous, and they just love going and playing and jumping and exploring this puddle, and they throw things in it, and they kick the water, and they splash, and it's already pouring rain, and they're soaking wet, and we just let them go because they're learning, and they're communicating, and they're playing, and they're really enjoying it, and we just love watching them play like this, like really free exploratory play. And if you watch in the back of the image, you can see Hunter really trying to keep his balance to get the water out of his boot and then keep his feet dry. But anyway, it's very sweet, and we had a lot of good comments. We posted this on our Facebook page, and people were just pleased to see that the kids were allowed to play like this. Like, they were allowed to get muddy and dirty and wet, and we know that they can get changed and dry off, and it was just, it was a lot of fun for them, so we wouldn't deprive them of this experience. So, enjoy.